Hello humans. Today I want to talk about this right here, which is something I picked up on a recent trip to Canadian Tire. The SOG Fielder. Obviously, opening up the packaging, we have a cardboard box that has a plastic bag on the inside of it. I like the plain cardboard box. It is quite nice. Not a huge fan of the unnecessary plastic bag, but what can you do? The knife itself has this wood scale with a stainless steel bolster in the front and the back. One side pocket clip. The other side, as you can see, has this little lug. So I don't actually think you can remove it because there's nowhere to put a tool inside that will actually hold. But it does look sort of like a rivet, I guess. I'm not entirely sure. It is liner locking. It has a 7CR stainless steel blade, which is pretty meh. Honestly, 7CR is very, very entry level. You're going to get better out of more or less anything you can get on the market nowadays. But it is a stainless steel, which for some people is going to appeal, and it does come in at a very inexpensive price. It has a one-position pocket clip for right side tip down only carry, which is fairly frustrating. If you've been in the world of knives for any amount of time, you'll know that tip down pocket clips aren't very popular because when you pull it out of your pocket, you then need to flip the knife around in order to open it. Whereas with a tip up pocket, you can just pull it straight out and it will already be ready for you to flick out. The blade shape itself is actually one that I really like. It has this harpooned straight clip point across the top, which provides really good indexing for your thumb if you're applying lots of force in that belly through a push cut or something like that. It has a fairly large amount of belly from right about here right up to the tip, which is very nice if you're doing any type of flat cutting tasks, detail work, so on and so forth. But it also has a nice flat section for those push cuts and similar. In terms of grind, it has this nice and simple hollow grind, which you find on most cheap knives or inexpensive knives, largely just because it is the easiest way of doing it. The harpoon section is swedged, presumably to lower drag. The entire design very much feels like a wannabe self-defense tool, which is fair. SOG is quite popular for making self-defense tools. Indexing your thumb here, I imagine you get quite a bit of poking potential if you needed it. I don't, but I actually really like this blade shape generally for my everyday. The liner lock is not too stiff. It's a little bit, it's not sticky by any means, but it is definitely stiff like you get on some thicker stainless liner locks. And engagement is right around that 45-50 mark. So it is quite nice. Ergonomically, that pocket clip is digging right here into the pad at the base of my ring finger, which is rather unpleasant. There's a couple different grips. I'm still like, this is not a very comfortable pocket clip. Actually, hold up one quick second. I'm going to find my screwdrivers and we're going to see if I can take this out. So this would appear to be small Torx. What do you think? Are you going T6? Let's try this T6. Sorry, my dogs are just my dog and my cat are all over me today. These are, in fact, T6s, so let's see if I can take this off. Alright, it has a little bit of some type of a thread locker in there. I didn't lose it. Good. If I ever want to put this back together. It has some type of thread locker in there. Not tons, but just enough to be a little bit annoying. Also, if you wanted to adjust the pivot, you can theoretically do it through this little hole, but really and truly, the easiest way to adjust the pivot would be to take the pocket clip off anyways, which is a curious choice. Without the pocket clip, that is actually a really comfortable knife. Unfortunately, it does not have a lanyard barrel or anything like that, so if you take the pocket clip off, it just needs to float freely in your pocket, which I do find a little bit annoying. The other interesting ergonomic choice is that both sides of the pivot are slightly, like they go out a little bit, they're not recessed or flush fit. This side right here is just purely aesthetic, it's designed to look like that, and then the screw side, I'm assuming they didn't have enough space to screw it down. But taking off that pocket clip makes this so much more comfortable of a knife to use. For my size hand, I wear usually a large glove. This grip fits really, really well. I have enough space to index off of either this thumb ramp or up here very comfortably. I can do a couple of different grips. Action's okay. I'm giving it a little bit of wrist. Let's see what happens if I give it no wrist at all. Yeah, action's okay. The detent feels strong, suitably strong for the thumb stud. It's not going to be like a rake knife or something like that, but it is, you know, suitably stiff. You can get a good flick on there, which is nice, and it is not in any way assisted. It's also nowhere, like, it's not going to drop shut, obviously. In terms of price, I got this for, I think, 20 Canadian dollars at Canadian Tire, so it was on sale. That does help. I don't think I would have bought this for the original 35 they were asking, but aesthetically, I actually really, really like this knife. It has minimal billboarding. It just has the SOG fielder on the blade. It doesn't have the blade steel written on it anywhere, which, I mean, fair. I wouldn't want to advertise that I'm using 7CR either, but it is, you know, something I would like to see on all models is just having the blade steel on there somewhere, so you know, if you bought it down the line, you'd know sort of what type of things you're going to be dealing with when it comes to sharpening and so on. The factory edge is, well, yeah, okay, that's pretty good. It's not like gonna blow me away or anything, but there's no micro tearing, there's no rolling, anything like that. Yeah, I'm not quite able to do sort of back and forth waves, but in just a straight slice, that was technique. In just a straight slice, it does a good job. Yeah, overall, I mean, this is a knife that has enough of a, I don't want to say controversial, but enough of a bold aesthetic that this is going to be polarizing. For me personally, I love the look of this knife. It feels very, very modern, traditional aesthetically to me. It has that same sort of look as a Buck 110 with the two bolsters and the wood in the middle. And it also has a very, very aggressive, very, very good looking blade. At least I find it to be a good looking blade. That's still quite useful. And once you take the pocket clip off, it's very, very comfortable. The only real reasons not to pick something like this up is going to be the 7CR blade steel, which means it's going to be fairly soft. It's going to require a lot of touching up. It can be a pain to use. And just not liking the aesthetic in general, which you're going to know that immediately upon taking a look at this, right? For me personally, this is a knife that is probably going to see some pocket time. It's a little bit difficult without having a lanyard hole. I might actually end up pulling it apart and drilling a hole through this so that I can attach a lanyard just sort of to the back of it, somewhere that won't interfere with the blade, hopefully. But it is a little bit annoying that it doesn't have a lanyard hole. But just purely for aesthetics, this thing looks good. And if I saw this on like a fixed blade, I would be so, so happy. I actually might make myself a fixed blade version of this. That'd be pretty cool. So in my opinion, if you're looking for a knife, you like the aesthetic, and it is on sale for 20 Canadian dollars or like 15 and under US dollars, absolutely, I would say go for it. It's suitably well designed. It's not going to be like the most hard use knife in the world, but what do you expect, right? 7CR, not the end of the world, but not great. Ergonomically, I'm actually finding this so comfortable since removing that pocket clip. Like, it's, I don't want to call it hand melting ergonomics, right? Like if I squeeze down I'm still noticing this is a box. This cutout for the thumb stud, it also makes really, really good access to the liner lock, which I quite like. It's not impossible to fail, as you can see by me repeatedly failing it, but it's also not difficult to throw. Yeah. Overall, I would say this is worth getting. It's a nice knife in a nice package, a very, very suitable size. My only real complaint about it is that pocket clip. The pocket clip sucks, and I would highly recommend removing it if you can deal with having something like this loose in your pocket. But overall, I really do like this knife, especially for that price. That $20 price is what makes this go from a good knife to an amazing knife. I still don't like it as much as my Buck 311, but this is taking second place in that ultra budget sub $20 category for me personally. That's all I have to say for now. Stay safe and have fun out there. Peace.